It's nothing new. I'm not knocking Apple. In fact, CNBC Pro did a great thing going back to 2007 that generally these types of product announcements, while fun and sexy, don't tend to move the needle. Did you see anything or hear anything yesterday that makes you want to move the needle more on Apple stock? Did we miss something?
No, I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, whether it's just the way kind of information flow is increased over the past 10 plus years, but the leaks on the iPhone they come out a lot more earlier than ever before, and more importantly, a lot more accurately. So that just leaves the opportunity for surprises is just extremely small. So Apple suffered, selling on the back of a very evolutionary update, and but looking under the hood, some of the negatives that some of the tech investors were kind of picking at were flat pricing year over year, which is leading to some margin concerns. We know that the supply chain is facing increasing input risks, and there had been reports of rising prices for this year's lineup. So that's been a disappointment. And I think end of the day, you still have to think last Friday's Epic ruling is a bigger overhang on the stock, at least in the near term.
Let's talk about, Joel, that supply chain issue. Nike just saying basically they may not get 2 months of production out of their Vietnam plants because of COVID-related supply disruptions. I mean, I know Apple's a high-value customer. I'm sure that Foxconn is going to do its best. Is there any real threat of not getting some of these new products to markets in time?
As of now, we haven't heard of any kind of significant bottlenecks for Apple. And as you said, that comes from being, number one, they're the world's #1 consumer of silicon content. And, companies like, Taiwan Semi, they're going to make sure that Apple gets what they want for their 8 series processors. And so as of now, there's really no major hiccups in Apple's supply chain. We know it's a mess across automotive and increasing its way through other parts of the global economy. But Apple, like I said, being king is never a bad thing.
Yeah. Let's turn now to Microsoft, because Joel, maybe you could help me because I don't get a lot of sleep and I'm getting old. Microsoft announcing a $60 billion stock buyback, boosting its dividend, as it tends to do, by 11%.
Yep.
Is this, I was trying to go through my old file cabinet brain. I can't remember a buyback bigger than that. I'm sure there probably was one I'm missing. Yep. $60 billion? This is a big deal.
Well, no, I call it scary, call it impressive, incredible, whatever you want. I mean, this is actually in line with what they've done in the past. And this 60 billion, a whopping number, and it's just in line with their previous capital return, announcements. Back in 2019, they announced a $40 billion buyback. And at the time, that was 3.7% of the company's market cap. Right now, that 60 billion is only 2.6% of this total market cap. So, I mean, it's just impressive that they come out with that number, and it's viewed as inline-ish, not a big deal. And it just kind of speaks to the story, the cloud momentum for Nadella and company. And but everything I've read, it's inline-ish, not very surprising. And it's just a staggering number, as you kind of highlighted.
Yeah, it really is. Stock up 1.25% pre-market. All right, we're going to do the trifecta here because this one's a big story. You don't have the time to dive into it that I'd like, but Facebook under fire from lawmakers over inaction following a scathing report from the Wall Street Journal revealing the company is aware that its Instagram app is harmful to the mental health of its users, most notably teenage girls. It's a damning report. I urge everybody to go read it in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, but it doesn't appear, Joel, to have, like normal, it doesn't matter what the news is on Facebook, the stock doesn't seem to react.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Teflon, right? I mean, it's whatever regulatory headline you get, the stock maybe has a near-term hiccup, and then it just comes right back. And I know obviously China is a big focus of your show this morning. More kneecapping headlines overnight over there. You almost wish the U.S. would take a similar stance to certain pockets of our industry. We know Facebook, Instagram, social media is toxic for teenagers, and I'm thankful. I guess my kids are still 5 and under, so maybe in the next kind of 7-8 years. We'll kind of wake up a little bit to how toxic these platforms are for a younger generation, but it's no surprise. And hopefully Zuckerberg is finally held accountable for something. He's not held accountable for lack of security implementation, not held accountable for misinformation being passed around. And again, it's just like these social media companies get a pass. And until you actually see a headline impact the stock,
yeah,
they're kind of going to shrug it off.